Um, okay. I don't know if I'm speaking. I don't know if anybody can hear me clearly. Like it's. I want to find out it is very clear. That's why I'm using a mic.
He said it's very clear.
Okay. Okay.
So they can see your screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Is it very clear?
Are you talking?
Oh no, I didn't talk. No, just let me speak again. Yeah. But how clear? Okay. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me? Is it clear? Can you guys hear me? How clear is it? Can you hear me? Is it clear? Please, you guys should confirm on the oh, network. Oh, sure, you guys have fiber here. Okay, I see LAN. Oh, I can go to. Can we start? Can we start? Huh? Oh. Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. So my name is Chikoli Abdusamad. I am a student of the data analytics at DTA, right? Yeah, so I'm in DTA. I am a data analyst by profession. I studied mechanical engineering though. I've been practicing for about 9 years now, and and so I've had the opportunity to work as a I've had the opportunity to work as a data analyst for mobile network operations, public health. I currently work as a business intelligence analyst for an internet service provision company that provide internet service, fiber, radio, and so I've had that opportunity to hold different portfolio under data analytics. So, but I still call myself a data analyst because that's like my origin. So when I started in 2015, 16. And before then, I'd never touched Microsoft Excel before. And I was given the opportunity to, I think then, the regional business manager for Airtel then, he approached me. I look like a young person that is, you know, that know what he's doing. And he was asking me if I know data analytics, and I told him no. And he said, "We're going to make you a data analyst. I give you 2 weeks to learn how to use Excel." I think I remember correctly. And after that, before the 2 weeks elapsed, he started bombarding me with tasks to do. And so the I think one of my key works I actually did there was database management. Because I remember we did a lot of data collation for Airtel. And back then, we were trying to map all the Airtel outlets across Nigeria. So I remember vividly, I was sent data from Lagos then to collate for the whole of North region. And so what actually collate was names of businesses, shop outlets, address, then geolocation. And so like the way they sent me the template was they had the names of like the shops, the address, but they sent it for me row wise in the sense that for me to enter, let's say somebody has multiple outlets. So what it will mean is that I'll have to put the business name, each shops and their addresses on a row wise column. And I thought about it as because Excel actually it takes more rows than column. Excel has the ability to take about 1,048,000 rows, if I remember correctly. And so it has the ability to take more data row wise than column wise. So I decided, back then I was just exploring. We didn't have programs like this. Like you would go to YouTube and start looking for tutorials. Google was not as rich compared to now that you would see a lot of experts that would come and put you through. For me, this is a very, very huge opportunity for anybody who wanted to learn. I can tell you personally that me, I've learned how to use Tableau here in this particular program. I use Tableau, but I don't use it as much. So I'll tell you that here it was a very huge opportunity for me to actually learn how to use Tableau. So then, like I said, I was exploring different ways to actually put data in a particular way you can do analysis with. So I think from experience, and unfortunately for me, I learned from experience. I wasn't taught. So I would go learn. I remember in particular tutorials I learned Excel uh, for advanced accounting and finance. That was my first tutorials I ever came across. And the guy actually did a lot of justice to it. So with that, I started, and it's different if you learn a tool than if a problem comes, right? If a problem comes, you have to use your experience of the tool to solve that problem, because what they're actually trying to teach you here are tools, not how to solve problem. Problem comes from your exposure to different scenarios. So the company I work for now, they don't care much for Power BI. So it's a requirement base. They don't care much for Power BI. If you want to give stakeholder feedback, maybe you want to give to senior management, what they want is, if you are not showing them Excel, you are showing them PowerPoint. And their major focus on whether Excel or PowerPoint is money, forget number. Your analysis, they don't care. They are more into, because it's a revenue generating company, what they are most interested is how much did you bring, how much do we lose? You understand? So with that experience, I came to a conclusion now that for every portfolio you actually hold, what you are there to do is to solve problems. Nobody cares much about all of this. Frankly, nobody does. What we have a problem, what solution did you bring to solve that particular? I use scikit-learn. You use the standard scalar to, or min max. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, after the prediction, what is the outcome? There might be rain next month, they might not, or there might be flood next month, they might not be. And what would that help them do? It will help them better prepare. And the other thing I've learned so far is, regardless of whether you are right as a data analyst or not, whether your analysis has come to the fact that please don't buy this stock, or don't do your analysis has shown that whatever path the company is the trajectory is a bad one or a good one. Your role as a data analyst in whatever portfolio, because the portfolio data analysts hold is plenty. You can be a financial analyst, you can be a business intelligence analyst, you can be a data engineer, you can actually be a scientist, you could be a public health analyst, and the portfolio is long. So whatever portfolio you are given as a data analyst, your role is on an advisory role. You are just like a special assistant, or how do you call them, for either to the governor or you are a PA, you are a personal assistant. Oga, please don't do this. Please, I think I learned a bitter truth while working. You understand? I learned a bitter truth. So your role as a data analyst is an advisory role. At the end of the day, by the time you've done your analysis, you tell them, this is my findings. By the time they do what they want to do, the least you can do is, I told you so. You understand? So the least you can do is actually, it's not personal, right? It's just business wise. After all, you work for somebody, right? So if your boss so sometimes me and my boss can argue, I want you to do certain things in this format. I'll say, sir, this will not work. You say, it's me that is telling you to do it. What can I do? I have to look for a way. Remember the first rule: solve problem. To solve that problem in a way that you want. So you would, at every point in time, even if you are right from your analysis, or because clients can ask for ridiculous kind of requirements, if you understand. They'll ask you to build a house with the roof as the foundation. Very funny set of people, because they think you can do it all. That's the assumption. You understand? So sometimes if the pay is good, you won't argue, you just go and do it. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but you look for what works. Because the first rule of thumb is solve problems. But as you advance, most probably in your career, you might maybe, if you feel the need to provide that as a service on your own behalf, and then maybe you can become an authority to say, no, this would not work, this would work. But it's a particular stage, and I felt the need to, it's not to discourage any of you guys, is just to tell you what is obtainable. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, good. So actually would be taking a lot of questions, because I know you guys usually like to ask questions. The questions would take, whatever the questions, please ask. Let it just be relevant to data analytics. I think I usually, anybody that we've chatted with before, I usually will say this. You can ask questions, no matter how stupid it is. We are here to actually learn. For me personally, I learn every day. Every day. And I was telling someone, if you want something to give you results, you need to give it sacrifice. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. As a Nigerian, it might sound weird. So the point is, if you really want data analytics to give you its fruits, you need to sacrifice for it. The sacrifice you are going to give it is most likely that, I'm not saying sleepless night, but you have to dedicate a time for it. It might be 30 minutes every day. It might be 30 minutes every 2 days. It might be 30 minutes every 1 week. If you have set that time that you want to give for data analytics, give it its time. And with that, it's going to give you it. And the other thing I also want to add is a very lonely part, is a part of critical think. You need critical thinking, like, what problem can I solve? How do I approach this problem? And your expectation should not be that, let me go and ask somebody, how do I find this problem myself? Assuming that nobody knows this thing but me. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So, in other words, what I'm just trying to tell you is, just create that ability to, you are the fuel of yourself. Nobody is going to ginger you in this particular matter. And problems will arise that, you might not be able to take the information you have elsewhere, maybe because of an NDA agreement you signed with a company or with a client. Maybe they don't want to take their data outside. You understand? Because data, in terms of data governance, is really, really important, especially in this 21st century. And so you might now start to look for ways to solve that problem, but by yourself. So you should, in other words, what I'm just trying to say is that you should learn to be self-dependent. I see this thing I'm saying is from experience. I see a lot of people somebody who asks question, how do I get to base? Maybe from Gariki, for instance, he will now be asking you, it's this person an Abuja based person. He knows how to take along. He will still be asking you, is it 15 naira or 100 naira? If I take to maybe what's the name of this Gudu Junction, do I take left or right? He can put it on his map and it will guide him. You understand? But somebody will still ask. To some extent, it's good to ask, but a lot of times in this particular field, you have to try to solve the problem and get the wrong result. It's far better for you know how not to do this. I think there's a statement of either Tesla or one of these. No, it's. I mean, no, the name Tesla came from somebody. The guy that they did electricity. They had something to do with electricity and light. He said, "I have learned how to build the light bulb 999 times." Edison, right? Okay, yeah, Edison. I've learned how not to build a light bulb 999 times, and I've learned how to build a light bulb correctly that one time. So at least the next time he wants to do an advancement in creating a light bulb, he knows that he's not going to do it this way. You understand what I'm saying? So you learn how to try to at least fail. Try to at least fail. The one thing that you should not do is not try at all. I don't know if that makes sense. So, with that being said, you can ask me questions now with regards to whatever it is, but please let it be relevant to. I'm not a sir. My name is. No, no, no. I'm not going to allow that. My name is Chico Liu. You can call me Abdul Samad if you want. Chico Liu. Anyone is fine, but I'm not a sir. Call me Liu. Yeah. Okay. My father is from Hong Kong. Ask a question. Someone is asking a question. Sorry, I can't hear him clearly, please.
So I don't know, and the question asks model meaning that how the test variable.
Okay.
So our question like is that when this five or any model that you just like, so is it going to be like multiple regressions or is it linear?
Okay. Let me see how. At least we did algebra in SS1, right? If you are science or art, you must do math. Okay. Um, I'm going to explain something, and so our friend, our colleague here is asking that given a particular data set that has to do with money and numbers, right? And he was asked to perform a statistical analysis to, okay, oh, okay, to look at Nigeria's economic growth. So it's more a predictive kind of analytics, right? You check what was viable in the past, right? And you see if you can now give somebody advice on if they should come and foreign guys can come and invest, right? So it's more a predictive analytics scenario. And just like the lecturer actually said, if you are using something like a linear model actually follows equation of a straight line. I don't know if you guys can remember that. Who remembers the equation of a straight line? So, sorry, hold on. Oh, sorry, please. Sorry, I want to write and, oh, this is interesting. Hello, can you? What up now? Okay, cool. Um, so as I was saying, the reason why you have all of this model is actually to mimic the straight line. Is the straight line is what is perfect. You understand? That straight line that you're able to take your x, your slope and your intercept. It's what is perfect. It's what is obtainable. But in the real world, it is not. So in other words, the algorithm that you're actually trying to use, you are trying different algorithms, is to make it to turn it into a math problem. What is x and what is y? That is just it. So if you would ask me with regards to this your question, I can say you might either use a linear regression model or a logistic regression, or you can even use any other algorithm to or machine learning algorithm to solve this problem, depending on what gives you the best results, depending on the variable you actually have. You understand? Of course, they have certain metrics that will say, oh no, use a linear regression. For instance, if you have two tables, for instance, I notice that one table is dependent on the other, right? Let me. What is the best context? You notice that in the morning you would have to eat, in the afternoon you have to eat, in the evening you have to eat, and maybe there's a particular time. I'm not sure. If I was, oh, I'm not presenting now. Sorry. Sorry, please. So you would have to test all of these models and see what particular model will be accurate in them. Okay. For those of you that wrote some information, I will not see it, so write on sheet. So I just define them and we will make on this. So I want to so you have to test the different algorithm to see what actually works. And like I said, there are different um, indicators to say, okay, let me use this, let me not use this. You understand what I'm saying? So you might either decide to use a linear regression model or a logistic regression, but outrightly, you'd have to test. I don't know if that makes sense. Have I answered the question? Any other question? Yes, sir. You call me sir, I'll call you sir. Oh no, I'm not showing anything. No, I'm not showing anything. You're just asking questions. What's the question, sir? Somebody that read math? Oh, somebody that don't like math. Okay. So I have a question for whoever that person is. But you know how to count your money with loss, right? The thing is that you don't necessarily need to know mathematics to be a data analyst. So either one will go. is either your mass would help you, or in the process of having to deal with numbers, you will learn math. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, good. Any other question? Please ask questions, please.
Question is regarding the how to view data, whether it's a local global. You mentioned the fact that your employer sometimes is not really clear about what is what is doing.
Yeah.
All he cares about is what he needs to do. So does that really differ when it comes to global? Because I realize that some companies employ data analysts that will work with them for them remotely. And I don't think those kind of organizations will employ you. Nigeria or just general that any employer anywhere can employ you and give you a job and just give you the specification regardless of what is people are want.
So it's not a Nigerian thing. It's not a Nigerian thing. Um, so um, there is usually, if I want to do maybe like a contract based job or a consultancy based job for somebody, the first thing I will ask, what are your requirements? I don't know if you understand. In some cases, I did a particular data collection. I built a data collection tool for this rural electrification agency project. So what they're trying to do was that they were trying to know the position of where their transformers are across northern Nigeria. You understand? So they gave like a list of questionnaires that they want to convert into a tool. And I saw the questionnaires they wanted to use, and I told them the best tool to use for this is this particular tool. Why did I choose that tool? I didn't use Google Form. The reason is because I know that these guys are going to go to rural areas. So what does that mean? Internet access is zero. And I was opportuned as a public health analyst to have worked in a place where there is no network, and we still used to collect data. You understand? So there's a tool called ODK, Open Data Kit. What you use that tool to do is to collect offline data. What it helps you to do is two things. You can, by the time you are done collecting your data, taking the geolocation, you can come back. Why that was that tool was done. And I know about this tool. I said, see, this tool is the best for your job. And I was in an advisory role to advise them of what works. Then the requirement was what the questionnaires they wanted to what the indicators they wanted to track, and I built it based on that particular indicator. So if you don't tell people what you do, people will make assumptions. People make assumptions all the time. They look at you, look at his lip is black, this guy smokes. Meanwhile, maybe you don't. I hope you understand. So it's left for you to always ask or tell, this is what I can do, this is what I cannot. If you cannot, yes, there's nothing wrong, you cannot. But of course, where they are paying you, they say, now where much you and there is a chop. So you also need to understand, if it's something that is within your context, you can go out of your way to actually do it. I don't know if it makes sense. Does that make sense? So, okay, we had a problem, and it's a sales problem. We had a technical partner that gives us internet through satellite. Now, the satellite has actually come a very long way in the internet broadband solution space, connectivity space. Now, what they do is they will give us like a DSTV dish like, and you can actually do multiple deployments within the span of 1 2 hours. You are done with deploying an internet solution. It's not like these big satellites before. Internet has come actually a very long way. Now we had a problem where we had they had customers that have churned. That is customers that were no more using their service, and they wanted to bring those guys up. That's a point of making money for us. It's an opportunity for us. They now sent us the list. Unfortunately, I work with the sales team. Sales team are not necessarily, they don't necessarily need to be technical. What the skill set that is most important to them is how to convince somebody to buy rubbish. You understand? So, and then when they sent me the list, they sent me the list per customer, over 4,000 customers with geolocation. Just map it around the country. For the salesperson, he doesn't even know what you are doing. Do you understand? So I am now in between what the guys sent to me, the technical team sent to me from our service partners, and the salesperson who want to consume this data. What I now did was to send them an email that please, we don't need this list per geolocation. We need it by location base. State wise, if you give me state, I know the region, I can do customer segmentation based on that. We did that back and forth for 2 weeks. Yes, no solution. They said no. The process they have to get those lists is long like that. I had to look for a way to do that because the sales team are there waiting for me. They want to consume this data. Why is it important to the sales team? So that you don't give them customers that don't belong to them. I don't know if you understand. So because we are dealing with sales team that are regional managers, so they are responsible for each region. I will not carry somebody from a client from one region and give it to another person. So I now went and first of all, the first approach, I asked our sales support admin, and we had an intern, a talent LMS administrator. I said, see, you guys should help me convert this geolocation to location. What did they now do? They went through the manual process. They will copy the geolocation, paste it on Google Map. By the time they get where and they only got 150 rows of data. That's a very problem. That's a very serious problem. It means that if we continue at that pace, we'll be at it for close to 15. I now started doing research. I now came across a particular application programming interface called Geocoding API. It's owned by Google. That is how Google use it. With that API, they convert geolocation to location, and they have it. What did I need to do? I needed to sign into Google Cloud Platform. You have to, give out your credit information or your debit information and get access to it. By the time I went there, I've never before then I didn't even know anything that had to do with that. So after that, you have to activate that particular API. Then you do an API call. You tell it that I want to use you. At the end of the day, what was I able to do? I now used, and so I was using tools, different tools. Excel has what they call a web service. I think, let me show. I have that particular, and I think I did a tutorials on that. Sorry, please, just one moment. So Excel has what they call web service function. What the web service function will do is that you feed it a URL, like an address, and it will get the information directly from the web regarding whatever URL you put there. I don't know if you understand. So when I now use that geocoding API, integrated it to the geolocation, eh? And it has what they call API key, an API key, like a key that will give you access to use that particular geocoding API. And I was able to get, okay, this is not it. I was able to get a list of very long information about that particular location. So what that geocoding API did for me was it gave me every information regarding that particular location. Every information. Yeah. So no, it's now for you to select what you need. And that is another problem. I don't know if you understand. So um what I now did was still to use that Excel, right? And I got so it has it comes in an a what they call an XML file. So what I now did was I now noticed that in a particular section in that information, there's what they call formatted address. The formatted address is the one that will come. For instance, if you say where are we? Where is based? Idu, maybe under this particular local government, FCT Abuja, something like that. And that is what I was looking for, right? What I now did was to filter out that particular formatted address using what another function called filter XML. It's a function in Excel. Filtered it out, click and drag. I now went to Python, uh, and I now did a list, a Python list. The name of the list is state. And what I now did, I know the number of states in Nigeria is 36, and I know them by head. I now inserted that particular this list of states in Nigeria inside that list. This is what I now ask Python to do. I now ask Python to loop through, to go through the list I already have, the formatted address. If you see anything in each of the rows that looks like what I have in my Python list, call out that Python list. You understand? So anything that looks similar to that is in that formatted address. Yes, yes, I did. And at the end of the day, I was able to get about 1,500 correct address, which is somewhere around 45%, right? Not just some few. Yeah, it would have taken me a very long time. You understand? So something like this. Can you guys see my screen? So this is the geolocation. So this is the web service function, right? So what I did was um, this particular URL is owned by Google. You give it a longitude, latitude. Now look at what I'm doing. I'm doing what they call relative cell referencing in itself. You understand? I'm saying that you should refer to B3 and B4. So the longitude will come before the latitude, and I have a list of it. You understand? What I can just do here is give it cell referencing. You understand? Then this is my API key. You get click and drag, and look at the information it's giving me. Look at the information it gave me. So it gave me a list of many things. You can see these are not really important to me, right? But I noticed that when I came to formatted address, which is somewhere around here, sorry, uh, yeah. So you see this formatted address here. I can now begin to see like a street and like a location. See zone 4, uh, so Benin Katsina Road, like that. So that is what I now filtered. I use a filter function called filter XML because it's an XML file. And look at it. You can see it's now giving me something that is readable. Then I went through. So it is that file now. I did like a concatenation. It's a function too in Excel, and I got like an address, right? What I now then did was to go to, sorry, just hold on. Python, no. Apparently, I have a lot of stuff on my PC for some weird reason. Okay, yeah. I think it's my network. I think there's still just one particular. Seriously? I see. I need to come and learn. Sorry, apologies. I did this now. Thanks for. It's just, I think it's the network. It's the network. You don't offend anybody today. Today is not my day. I'm sweating profusely. I'm supposed to present this, right? Oh, you cost it. What do we do?
Sorry, guys. So
To stretch
sign on the what I wrote there.
Sorry, please. So this is my, just like your Google Colab. This is my Jupyter lab. What I did, the same way you do import pandas as PD, that's the same thing I did. What I now did was to read, because it's an Excel file. So this is where the location of my file is, right? I call the name of the sheet. That's a PHT, and what else? So ordinarily, if I run this particular code, let me run it. I'm going to remove this skip rows, and I'm going to run this guy. Now, this is what happens, right? You notice that the title or the column names, you see on name one, on name two, like that. But if you look at the first row, you notice that this is what I actually want to graduate to this place, right? And so in order for me to do that, and it is displaying exactly what is on my Excel sheet, because there is a space here, it's actually displaying what is on my Excel sheet, how my Excel sheet was designed. So the skip rows is to, I'm telling my sheet is that I want to actually skip. You understand? This is what I want to skip. This guy here, and I want to make this guy the title. And by the time I run that, if I go to my, you can now see, right? I've solved that particular problem. Now, I want to solve this particular problem now. And what I just needed to do was to tell my data frame. I'll just call out like what the lecturer said in the previous class. Only the names of the column I want to use. I don't know if you get. So this, which is what I did here, right? And by the time I ran it, If I do let me see. So if I want to read that particular data again, df.head, you can then see that what was here before is no more there again. Does that make sense? And I created a list. So this was just me trying to confirm that what I have here is a readable list. So I now created a list, as I said. The list of Nigeria is known, is 36. Names of states in Nigeria is 30. That is known. I created a list. I created a Python function. What the function does is, if I go through this, I'm telling the Python that go through this particular list, look through this address. If you see anything here that is looking like this, just call this guy out. I don't need anything here. If anything here looks like any of the names, it should be replaced. And that is how I now said, okay, I'm going to create a new column called state, and I'm going to apply my Python function. And that's how I was able to get this state here. I don't know if you guys can see. And I now did I actually dropped this particular column, and I said convert this particular data set to CSV file, and this is my CSV file. So this is my readable data. With this particular data, is this it? Oh yeah, this is it. With this particular data, I can now segment. I'll say this business manager, this is the list of customers you need to attend to them. Look, you can see the problem. The problem is not plenty, but the route to which I went through that problem, it took me close to 1 month. Yes, because it took me email back and forth, then start doing research for a week, and in one swoop, in less than a day, I generated this list. And from the 4,000 lists I actually generated, I was able to get everything except for 50 client list. And I decided, okay, what was now the issue? Why can't I get the 50? Because me, I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid like that. And I was now taking sample at random, the geolocation. Let me check. I found out that this geolocation belongs to places like Cameroon, Niger, Chad, and stuff like that. And this doesn't concern us. At random, I picked like about 6 or 7 randomly. You understand? Did the test. I found out, oh, okay, it doesn't belong here. We don't need this. So, in other words, I was able to get about 97% correct data, and that is good enough. You don't need to get 100%, especially if you are doing analytics. You do not need to be accurate often than not. Just try as much as possible based on how you understand it. Bring it up, because at the end of the day, people will still give you feedback, right? So, please ask. I want to know. I have an idea. How would you like to attend this So, in other words, no. So what you can do there, most likely in a data analytics interview, because I've attended a lot of interviews. The recent one I attended was for a particular project on HIV, and the people that were asking me questions are medical doctors, because it's a project on HIV, but they were reading they were reading from like as if they were dictating questions for me to answer. And I answered the ones I could, and the ones I didn't know, I told them outrightly, I don't know. They will ask you, for instance, in this situation, how do you deal with certain problems? It's not even something that is are more technical than data analytics question. But like I said, your job as a data analyst is to solve problems. You understand? By the time they asked me everything and I didn't get the job, and the HR wanted to give me feedback, when she was talking, she said a lot of positive feedback, which I enjoyed. And she was now asking me, what do I have to say for myself? I said, see, me, I've gotten to a point in my career where I don't talk. If you have a problem, give me the problem. Let me solve it. I'm not even asking you to pay me. Just give me the problem. Let me just solve one segment of it, and I'm done. I now told her, I said, see, in the future, if you have any project, you understand, send it to me. I'll do it for you like a sample, like a taste of the iceberg. Just take it. You understand? So, and that was how I didn't actually got that. But well, you have some wins and you have some loses every now and then. So, but you actually be talking to people who do not have experience about the job you're actually doing. Most often than not, it's not a disappointment. Just know how to respond to them. No, so they are trying to psychoanalyze you. Do the same thing for them. I don't know if that makes sense. So, okay, the one thing I would say is how I actually got a lot of my jobs was based on referral. I've done something before that somebody saw and liked, not for money. Like, okay, when I became a public health analyst, I worked with I don't know who knows BMGF. Nobody knows BMGF. Do you know why I don't want to call the full name? Because if I call you, you know. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So I worked for yes, we were part of the people that did white polio eradication in Nigeria. I mean, the project I did contributed directly to Nigeria being white polio virus free. And so when I went there for the interview, I didn't know anybody there. I've never been there before. When I called out my name, like Liu, we know you now. And I looked at my then project manager. I don't know you anywhere. You understand? Because again, I was in a it was Borno State, very interesting place. And so apparently the reason why he knew me was because there was when they started the project newly, they were trying. I saw him struggling with Excel. I was like, what are you trying to do? He said he's trying to do that. I said, bring it, let me do it for you. And that was it. They saw the job, they adopted it, and that's how they called me for the interview. I actually didn't talk too much there because my work already spoke for me. So I was fortunate like that. So learn to do free jobs most often than not so that people will get to know you. Any other question? Any questions? Please ask questions, please.
Was explaining when asking to the approachable way to do that data mining. Actually, it says that to mine how to approach.
So depending on the data you actually want to mine, um, there are different tools you can actually use to mine data. You can even use your Power Query to mine data. You can use Power BI. The most prominent tool we actually use for data mining in the data analytics field or data science field or data engineering is Python. There's what they call Beautiful Soap. There's what they call Beautiful Soap. Beautiful Soap is like scikit-learn. Somebody actually built a library that you can use to mine data. You understand? And depending on now, what people are now doing is because what they call web scraping. That web scraping is going through the internet to get data. Data mining is actually fetching that data. You understand? So because people like you are interested in mining data, what other people are now doing, owners of website, is trying to restrict data mining on their website. You understand? Because after all, they paid money to build that website. Why you now make the mining data for free? So, but the prominent tool I know are Beautiful Soap. There are other tools you can actually use to mine those data, and it's not like you just go online and just start mining data. You have to be specific. Where do I want to get this data from? I don't know if that makes sense. So, for instance, I want to get data from Wikipedia. Let me see. List of states in. Let me go to. So it will need you doing some research as to where you want to fetch that data from, right? And by the time you've gotten something, okay, I think this was even where I got this list that I used, this particular place. But let me look for something that has a list. Sorry, just hold on. Aha, so something like this. Let's say this is the data I want to get. The simplest tool off the top of my head is let's see, Power Query. And okay, sorry, I don't know. Hold on, yeah, no problem. So I'm going to go to my Power Query. I want to shoot up my Power Query, and where I actually want to fetch my data from is from the web. I'll go to my web. It's asking me a prompt, a URL prompt. You see that you see this particular place. I'll just go there, go to the where the web search is, copy the URL and paste it here. Can you guys see the screen? Okay. So it's going to go through to that particular site. It's asking me to connect. I'll try and connect. So it's telling me that it's waiting for a response um, from that particular website. Sometimes it takes a lot of time depending on how bad your internet connection is. If your internet connection is good, aha. So you can see Power Query in this particular instance is trying to identify what looks like a table on that particular website. Now, if I start going through the first table, I don't know if you guys can see. This is literally data mining or web scraping. And let's assume that this is what I want. What I can just do is just to you might decide to want to look at the rest of the table, but because what I'm looking for is um, list of a list of all the states in Nigeria, which is this. I can now transform and look at my data, clean that particular data, because by the time you fetch that data, maybe you don't need all the columns in that particular data. You just need certain column in that data. You just clean it. Either you are going to use Power Query, you can use Power BI, you can use Python, depending on what you want. Let's say I actually don't want this the date, or let's say this preceding entity. What I can just do is just to, you know how Power Query works, right? And by the time I'm done, I will just usually I prefer to load two. It's a preference for me. I usually load it as a connection. It's not a preference. It's not. It has nothing to do with anybody. And so by right click, then you can now load to table, new worksheet. Voila. So this is data mining, right? So after you actually have gone to that particular that URL to get your data, you then clean it and you prepare it to your own taste. It's just like you going to the market to go and buy food, cooking it to your own taste. Some people maybe they want to eat rice. Some like jollof rice. Some like fried or with whichever flavor you want to prepare it in. You do that using either. There are several tools, but this is just the tools we are used to, right? I don't know if that answers your question. Any other question? Any questions?
My question is, I experience usually the time we started this, I thought business are increasing something bad. So by the time we started, I see we're all giving everything together. So as an experience, I want to share for me, for example, now, like my colleague asked me now, right? For example, you have to interview. How would you be able to prepare yourself for that? By the questions you're going to answer.
So basically, what, for instance, business intelligence do is that um, you solve problem, but business-based problem. For instance, they want to find out why customers in a particular location they don't buy your product. This is a business intelligence question. So it's your and it's not, even if you get data from there, the data is business specific. You want to understand why revenue is not coming due to purchase of that flow, outflow, expenditure, capital expenditure, operational expenses, like that, like that. I don't know if that makes sense. Any other question? Okay, we are supposed to close. But ask. No, no, no. Ask.
My question is concerning the baseball.
Yeah.
You can see it on your system. No, the back of your sticker.
Oh, sticker. Oh, this one is for intimidating people. Just so you know.
And the models and everything. How can we be able to use either the work we have done as a project on this talk?
Okay, good.
Either to create a studio for leadership to be the job particularly that apply
Oh,
to be people to see.
okay. The first thing you need to do. Okay, this is my GitHub. I have I've worked on some project, not very plenty like that, small, like small. So usually you get a GitHub account. You can use your Gmail account to actually open a GitHub account. You understand? Um, you guys can see. So it's self-explanatory. It's not that difficult. Try to get a Google account. Um, open a GitHub account and okay, so one of my portfolio, I have a portfolio website because everybody was doing it, and I actually use GitHub to launch it. So it's like a website, but it's a static website. Nothing changes, nothing serious. Yeah, you can use Google Drive to launch a static website. There are a lot of tools you can actually use. So this is my portfolio website. So, and these are like the services I do experience, and these are all the projects I've done so far. So I can easily, maybe somebody wants to check what I've done, I just copy and paste and just send them the link. So just get a GitHub account. What GitHub was initially meant for programmers, in such a way that if they are developing a particular product, you have a lot of people that are working on it. So it's like a central space where you do a lot of collaboration. There's what they call continuous deployment, continuous integration, CI/CD. So the reason is because they didn't want a situation where I will be working, right? And maybe my input is dependent on yours. You So you don't have to wait for me to finish, then you now start saying I'm doing. That's the purpose to which they created GitHub. So initially it wasn't meant for data analysts, but we have found out that you can actually post your projects there. And if you go through each of these particular projects, okay, this is a particular an API I built for an NGO, and I was using it to do a particular deployment somewhere. So you can see it's like your directory where you upload. It's like your Google Drive. It's like an advanced Google Drive. You understand? Does that make sense? So what this does is you can use it for literally. Let me see. Oh, I don't have it here. Hold on. Sorry, please. You can use it for deployment. Oh wow. Actually, don't have it here. So, but this is one of the deployments I actually did. You understand? And it's GitHub that is hosting it for me. So instead of having to maybe give somebody your GitHub account, you can actually build a portfolio that will contain that same thing but more human readable, right? Which one will you prefer I give you? This one, where you get to see my work, or this one?
The two.
No, no, no. Not everybody is like you, bros. So you use GitHub for that. It's really important that if you really want to showcase yourself, get a GitHub account. Unfortunately. Sorry? You can use Tableau. Tableau has there are different platform, but I mean in the data community, everybody knows GitHub. But you can use Tableau to showcase your work as well, right? And you so maybe if you have like you've published your work on Tableau, you can put it as a link here, or you get what I'm saying. So regardless, you can use several tools to display yourself. So it's a GitHub. If you look at it, look at the address github.io, my portfolio website. If I go to my repo, you will even see the name of the file. Oh, yeah, this is it. This is just what I'm displaying there. No, 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 it's free. It's free. It's free. Yeah, it's free.
All right, one house.
System, system. Preferably, right? Get anything from a 6-7 gen. That is 2017, 2018. The reason is because the tools they are using now, it's more, you need a lot of power for it. So get something from 2017, 2018, an i5 or an i7. So what I meant is 7th gen, 8th gen, something that has multiple processor. Mine is a 7th gen, 8th gen i7 hexa core, and it has a GPU, a GTX 1070. Like I use it to play PS5 games and it doesn't lag. So get something that can take, a 7th, 8th gen i5, but again, you have to also look at your cash flow.
All right.
Okay, if you have